Hello friends, in this video we'll discuss where Polish solidarity is heading. We'll analyze not just street scandals, but a real systemic failure at the intersection of geopolitics and plain human foolishness. Why are Polish radicals attacking Poles, mistaking them for foreigners, and how does everyday chauvinism become convenient fuel for major political players? Let's break down two stories. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Friends, be sure to leave a like in support of aerodynamics. To help promote the video, you can write in the comments right away, "Bald guy, why aren't you at the front?" or "Bald guy, why aren't you at the sea?" So, just a reminder to subscribe, and now let's get to the point. We have two wonderful stories. Let's start with the first one. It's short and very fresh. Today is July 14th. It's just the anatomy of Lodz absurdity when fists are faster than brains. Let's start with a classic of the genre. It's simply perfect. It illustrates the saying, if you have strength, you don't need brains. The wonderful city of Lodz, right in broad daylight. It happened on Saturday, on the weekend, that is, on the 14th. Regular people are still sober at this time. But on Piłsudski Avenue, a tragicomedy unfolded that deserves to be written by the best satirists. A citizen of sunny Poland, filled with righteous anger, decided to restore order in quotation marks. In terms of nationality, on a separate fifth sidewalk, a man was just walking along, saw another man, a passerby, who was engrossed in a phone conversation. Well, our hero didn't bother with any kind of linguistic analysis of what was going on. Why listen when you can just start hitting? He decided that the man in front of him was Ukrainian, and this aggressor came out with the standard set of slogans like suitcase, train station, Kiev. You know, basically, get lost. He figures to really make it sting, the guy's Ukrainian and probably won't understand. If he tells him to get lost in Ukrainian, he'll have no idea what he means. And that's why I'll add some arguments to his jaw and his nose. Basically, according to one version, he just beat him up. Yeah, and according to another version, he actually broke his jaw and nose. The spicy and extremely dramatic part of the situation is that the victim turned out to be a pure-blooded Pole. Well, you could call it friendly fire. A local resident who was just going about his business in his hometown, he decided to call someone, and then some concerned citizen thought he was a Ukrainian. And what do you do with a Ukrainian? Well, just beat him. What else? So, one is in the hospital with fractures, the other is wanted by the police. Well, law enforcement is studying surveillance footage. Something needs to be done about this. What is this? I don't know. This is the triumph of pure, unadulterated idiocy. You see, friends, the level of aggression in society is so high that even our own people start to smile. Pasha is beating up his own, but why? For supposedly being of the wrong origin. In my opinion, this is a warning sign, friends. Write in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But this is actually a perfect example of what these right-wing currents are doing and where they're taking us. If you know what I mean. Add to this cocktail some primitive nationalism and you get an explosive mix. Extremely dangerous, even for random passers-by. All right, and the second story. Let's break it down, because now we have a complete and comprehensive picture of what happened. Bielsko-Biała, a wonderful city. By the way, you can write in the comments which beautiful Polish city you're watching from. Let's move on, again, to Bielsko-Biała. I think it was route number 8, but that's not important. It doesn't matter which bus it was. Here, the person turned out to be much more respectable. This wasn't just a street thug. Later, it turned out that he was actually a regular driver for MZK, the local transportation company. By the way, he was on extended sick leave. I don't know what his diagnosis was. Maybe it was psychiatric, maybe not. Maybe the guy just had sore legs. But the healing air of vacation had such an effect on the man that he decided to earn some extra money. He decided to moonlight as a volunteer immigration inspector. Well, let's watch this wonderful video. I think you've already seen it. Well, that's okay. And I think we can repeat it. Staunci, I'm coming to you. Come to the door. I gave it to you.
Here you go.
Here you go.
Się skończy niedługo. Będzie wypierdalać tam, na swoją Ukrainę.
Po co pan tak mówi na mnie?
Ty, ja wiem gdzie ty mieszkasz. Znam cię, kurwa.
I gdzie mieszkam?
Gdzie mieszkasz? Na Ukrainie.
Nie, no znaczy mieszkam w Polsce.
Nie pyskuj, bo nie jesteś kwatą. Tak samo jak ty.
Po co pan na mnie krzyczy?
Zawołaj sobie mamusię. Następną. Co myślisz, że nie wiem?
What do you mean you don't know? You always do what you want, so what now? What are you doing? What don't you have? What don't you have? Could you not touch me, okay? Don't touch? And what about you, damn it? And what about you? And you're just a fucking Ukrainian whore, damn it? Get the fuck out of this country, damn it. Get the fuck out of this country. Why the fuck do you go to Łódź, damn it?
Of course, in the comments, people will definitely write, yeah, that's the youth. You know what kind of youth they are. They're all so bad. Of course, that's not true, as they already said in the administration of the city of Bielsko-Biała. The girls didn't do anything bad to them. But as you can see, this brave guy chose the most dangerous category of underage Ukrainian girls as the target for his attacks. Who else would he pick? Do you think he went to the gym to look for some Ukrainian among the weightlifters or maybe the boxers? Nah, why would he? Instead, he picked on little girls. As you can see, he was yelling in public, intimidating teenagers, and of course demanding their immediate deportation right at the next stop. Yes, I should mention that one of the passengers stood up for the girls, but our hero immediately turned his eloquence on her. To the driver's credit, the one who was behind the wheel tried to cool down his unhinged colleague, distracted him, and eventually kicked him out of the bus. Yes, and what's interesting, friends? Well, write in the comments if you think the poll was right, or maybe you'll write that he was right, yeah? Well, basically, my videos, unfortunately, are watched by all kinds of people, right? If you don't like my creative work or perspective, why torture yourself? Tell me in the comments why. You don't like it, right? I'm just saying it's not okay to beat up polls. Okay, that's fair to say. If you don't like it, don't watch. I say beating up Ukrainians is wrong and you disagree. Why torture yourselves? Just watch my video. I don't get this. I'm almost 40, a grown man, but there are still things in life I don't understand. What's with this masochism, huh? Let's get back to the topic. The wheels of the state machine, by the way, started turning. Yeah, because the video got online. I don't know how many such videos never made it online. There was quite a stir. And the Minister of Internal Affairs himself, Mr. Marcin Kierwiński, got involved in the case. The message is the usual one, loud and clear. The attacker was promptly detained by the police. The MZK is preparing strict disciplinary measures. I wonder if he will be fired. And a separate statement has been filed with the prosecutor's office. The mayor of the city and the carrier have apparently promised compensation and support to the frightened girls. Well, I'm not sure about the compensation, but I think the girls definitely need psychological support. It would seem that justice has prevailed. The guilty party will be punished, hopefully to the full extent of the law. Well, look, friends, yes. By the way, speaking of patriots, who will definitely write to me now saying that I'm defending these Ukrainians? Damn, if some Ukrainian guy who was drunk or a group of Ukrainians decided to pick on Polish children, my position would be exactly the same. You can't hurt children. Even if, let's say, in a fantasy scenario, they were behaving badly there, you make a remark, that's it, call the police. But don't lay your hands on them, you jerk. So, let's get back to the topic at hand. Justice has prevailed, the guilty will be punished. Let's look at the situation a bit more broadly, from the perspective of historical and political context. Because what's happening is what I've been saying for at least a year now. It's a big game played on small fears. Who benefits from this? Now it gets really interesting. Minister Kierwiński, commenting on the arrest of this bus patriot, couldn't resist taking a nice little swipe at his political opponents. And I don't think it's because he really loves Ukrainians. I see it differently. Nevertheless, he directly mentioned the names of Jarosław Kaczyński, Grzegorz Braun, and Przemysław Czarnek as people who do a lot to spread a wave of hatred across Poland. Agree, it's kind of an unusual trend. And here we see a classic example of how the major political establishment uses the foolishness of these ordinary fools. Of course, they use it for their own interests. Let me repeat, not because Mr. Marcin Kierwiński really loves Ukrainians. On one hand, right-wing politicians have been flirting with the conservative and nationalist electorate for years, carefully stoking discontent over the presence of migrants. How? It's all because of them. Who else would it be because of? Because it's the easiest way to score political points. What, are you going to go to some village, and with all due respect to the villagers, I'm from a village myself. Well, what, are you going to be not the most, damn, okay, I won't say it now. What, are you going to tell these people hanging around outside a Zabka about some kind of economy, about taxes, right? I mean, no. You need to find an external or internal enemy, and blame everything on them. Economic difficulties, inflation, social inequality. You're drunk, covered in piss, lying outside the Żabka because of Ukrainians in Poland. Not because you can't pull yourself together and do something with your life. And even more so, yes, to ask the government, why do we have such taxes? Why do we have inflation? No, that's much harder. It's easier to say, here's a Ukrainian. That's why, excuse me, I wet myself. So, let's get back to the topic. On the other hand, the current authorities, represented by the same Kravinsky, skillfully use these incidents to tighten the screws and present themselves as the only guarantors of order and European values. Zero tolerance, shouts Mr. Minister, and under cover of all that noise, it's very convenient to demonstrate the decisiveness of the state apparatus, while at the same time sinking the ratings of competitors, although it seems they are unsinkable. But that's all political struggle. What do we have left in the end? In the end, we have the average person who, instead of logic and understanding of economic processes, just has a mess boiling in his head. It's a mess made up of TV slogans and some personal complexes. The capitalist system of wealth distribution inevitably creates crises. But instead of figuring out the reasons for rising prices or the housing shortage, the citizen goes out to punch the first person he sees on the street or to harass kids on the bus. That's much more fun, isn't it? In short, I have a summary for thoughtful people who watch my videos to the end and listen. In short, these two cases are not just crime reports, they're symptoms of a serious social disease, when nationalist rhetoric replaces common sense. The most vulnerable suffer first, and sometimes even themselves. And the Poles themselves, as you can see, they just straight up bullied him. Well, not exactly bullied, but they just punched this Pole in the face because they thought you were Ukrainian. Politics, something about the chair. Of course, they blame each other. And of course, blogger Denis Lukyanov, he's stirring up hatred. It's time for society to understand, dear friends, that geopolitical problems can't be solved with fists on the street. But you can easily earn yourself a ticket to jail or to maxillofacial surgery. That's why I urge you to be smarter, look deeper, and don't let yourself become a blind tool in someone else's political struggle. I suggest, dear friends, Ukrainians, Poles, Belarusians, and everyone else living in Poland to rise above all this fuss and draw a simple conclusion. Malice and aggression are absolutely blind. Today you clench your fists against Ukrainians, and tomorrow your own neighbor, colleague, or a random passerby becomes the target of your rage. Just because you thought you saw something in the dark or you thought you heard something in a phone conversation. So dear Poles and all of us living on this crowded planet in this beautiful sunny Poland, let's live in harmony. I believe that it's much harder to keep your humanity than to break someone else's. But that's exactly what makes us human. Friends, and just one more minute of your attention. It's simply a wonderful video because there will be elections. Well, okay, these are parliamentary elections. But nevertheless, it's just a wonderful video on TikTok. I suggest you watch it and write your opinion. I'm really interested in what you think.
I'm for Naroki. You're for Naroki, of course. Because at the beginning, when he was president, he faded away. And why do you support him? I support him. You support him. He's smart. What did he do that made you... He's a smart guy. Even that voice. Greetings, sir. Take a look. This is it. And what did he do as of now? What did he do? He did that. But what did he do? What can he do? You tell me yourself. What can he do by himself? Why are they doing this to him? No, because no, because no, because no, because no. At the border, they have it. They have everything. That's at the border. Here, he rules. Andre, so that everything goes well. Oh, no. I see. They have everything. Everyone has everything. At the border. Okay. Thank you. Fuck. Shoo. I understand.
Great video, friends. So you understand who you need to vote for. Yes, by the way, this isn't election campaigning, but they didn't pay anything, although they could have. All right. Thank you very much for your attention. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Leave likes, write comments. That's all for now. See you next time. And by the way, greetings to the working class truckers. Everyone, please be careful behind the wheel, because I don't have that many viewers as it is. And every viewer who watches until the end is worth their weight in gold. So a big hello to you. Take care of yourselves. See you next time.